Welcome, here we are today, Marple Locks in Stockport, Greater Manchester. It's part of the Cheshire Ring of canals. This particular one has got 16 locks and is classed as the steepest lock flight in the whole of England. Over those 16 locks rises over 64 metres, it's over 200 feet from start to finish. And we're about lock 12 currently. As you can see, the water level is quite low at the minute. Even though we have had quite a lot of rain, it's actually raining now. Probably getting a little bit too rainy to carry on making this video, but we'll see. HUD's going up. So we're at lock 11 now. I'm just going to pass down and see a couple of the locks and what they look like. It was actually opened in 1805, although apparently the first boat came through in 1804. I mean, it's quite the drop down there. You can see just how low it is. Down there looks like we've got a collection of metal there, maybe bike parts or something. You wouldn't normally get to see, but as the water level is so low, you've got a good view of probably the bottom of the water level. A bit of water coming through that gate there. And you can see, looking at this, why it's one of the steepest lock flights in Britain. It extends away up there towards Marple town centre. It passes through there, and this way heads towards Offerton area. Lock 11 there. So the money for this canal, when it was originally proposed in the 1700s, the money was put up by a local business magnate by the name of Richard Arkwright. Arkwright's a name that's commonly associated with Marple. Spent a lot of money in Marple, probably on these locks, but he was a businessman within Marple as well. And there's even roads named after him around here. Look how low the water level is, guys. Never seen it like that before. So right now I don't even think a canal boat could get down here due to this water level. You can see the bottom there, look, all the rocks and everything. Yep, I wouldn't want to take my canal boat down there if I had one at the minute. Quite nice houses bordering the canal, which must be great in the summer, sitting out next to the water. Many of them have taken the chance to make features of their canal views, the garden spaces that they've got. Yet other ones here have tried to block off the view from their garden to the canal, probably because of the amount of people that use it as a walkway. We've got Marple Park just over the other side of that hedge there, and quite early in the day, but there are still many walkers milling around. It is very popular with dog walkers and just general like hikers, people who enjoy going out for walks. Quite some drop that is. I'm not going to get too close because, like I say, it is a wet day, and one slip, I don't think I'll be getting out of there too easily. It's currently maintained by the Peak Forest Canal company. I think they've got one of their badges here actually. The Canal and River Trust it's called. They sometimes stand in this spot actually, soliciting for support, donations because apparently it can cost, just to maintain, you can see that's quite rotted there, just to maintain and replace one of these pieces of wood on each log is over £100,000, which I'm not sure where all that cost breaks down to. But I stopped and chatted to one of the representatives one day, and this is what they were telling me, is like a minimum of £100,000 just to come along, repair the wood, paint it and leave it at that. Anything beyond that, I can imagine, is upwards of £100,000. A nice area. We've got steps down there coming towards the side of the locks. This is fenced, so it must be quite, I can see there, but it's going to be quite slippy on that edge there. So they fenced it so that you don't get too close. We've got what was probably an old mill here, which is now residential, on the other side. Yeah, we can get beyond the edge of the fence here and have a look. So it opens out a little bit here, and this still has got some depth to it here, I can see. I'm not sure what the name of that mill is. We'll see if we can get that, because it does look quite cool to live there, especially on the lower floors. You can see where the water level gets up to normally. There's some people in there, look, in that big window. There might be a conference place of some sort. Could even be business premises looking at the lower floors. Looks like they've got some of them windows there, they've got files and boxes and office type space. And cars parked up. There's a sign over there. I don't know if I'll be able to read it from here. So can't zoom into that. At some point though, we must be able to get across and have a look. It's a lovely building. And it's quite big as well. Love the arches around the windows and the doorways. We've got like a portcullis arrangement here. So it was probably possible at one time to put your boat within an area around on that bottom bit there. Maybe that's what that was. Boat gate. You could drive, if that's the word, your boat, your canal boat straight into there. So it might have been a warehouse. It's probably more likely for dropping goods and whatnot off. Because this canal, like I say, is part of the Cheshire Ring. And for many years, right up until the 1960s actually, it was still in active use for those purposes. It did fall into disrepair in the 60s. It was no longer passable, and it was the previously mentioned Peak Forest Canal company that put the money together to restore it to what it is today. If simple maintenance on one lot costs 100,000, I can only imagine what the cost was to bring it back up to passable waterway. When I've been around here previously, I don't think I've ever seen a canal boat passing through these logs. So I'm not sure if they are still passable, or if it's just that nobody uses them. I find it hard to believe. The Cheshire Ring is quite well used by canal boat users. So we come out here on the bottom to Station Road. It's quite a busy road here. Got St Martin's Road there. So if we wanted to, we could actually walk around here and make that road there to get to that warehouse stroke residential area. We're at Lock 9 now. It's got a plaque there that says 2002. So this obviously actually where it's going out in 2002. You can see it's right there. Not to fall down there at all. litmus test. It's a old vicarage. Not sure what it's used as now. Looks residential, so we won't go poking our nose in. Right, let's try and attempt to cross Station Road safely and carry on down the locks. Far side, very near side, let's go through. From the bridge, so the canal actually passes underneath the road that we just crossed. Comes through to opens up quite wide. This is the widest point so far. See. Again, we've got houses on the other side there. Lovely big houses, big gardens. They look like residential places for maybe old people, that type of thing. Carry on now. Peak Forest Canal, Marple Rocks. Marple Aqueduct, which is where we're heading to today. It's a mile away. It's a Canal and River Trust, so that's what I need to remember. Canal and River Trust. People do fish on here. I've yet to ask, if we see a fisherman, we'll ask him what type of things, what type of fish you can expect to catch here. But I'm a fan of gone fishing, and through that programme I've probably familiarised myself with quite a number of different fish that people catch in the rivers of England and Wales and Scotland. Be interesting to know whether any of those fish that they catch in that show are represented in this waterway. What a beautiful mirror finish that water's got today. So still. There isn't a little bit of rain, it's just spitting, but it's barely disturbing the top. That's why we've got that great reflection there, all the way down. Now approaching Lock 8, if my old eyes don't deceive me. Not sure how many locks there are between here and the aqueduct. Can't be that many if it's only 1 mile. We'll see. Yep, okay. So you can see the depth of the water on this side from this pool. Comes to the lock here and stops, and then gate paddles create strong water flows. Do not fully open these gate paddles until the lock is at least half open. Right, okay. Well, we're not opening any locks today. Let's have a look. How deep, how high it is on this side, without dropping down into it, of course. So not quite as empty as the others, but still quite empty from what I've seen previously. The whole thing is just has an air of foreboding about it. It is a throwback to another era. And I like to imagine the industries that operated on it, and I like to think about how life must have been for them people that were operating on this canal with their boats, bringing goods up and down it. What life must have been like for them. So it opened in 1805 up to 1960. So that's men. I'm not sure about women, but definitely men at that time would have probably spent their whole working lives going up and down this canal, from being young boys 14, 15, maybe younger, all the way up to retirement. Whole life up and down this canal, they would have some amazing stories to tell of their life and experiences. There's probably a museum somewhere that will give me more of an insight into that. So at the side of this canal, we've got woodland walks, and in the distance through the trees, it's actually Marple Tennis Club, I think that's what it's called. Right in the middle of the woods, so great place to come and play tennis, very peaceful and quiet. Not going there today though. I did see a young lad with a fishing rod earlier before we started filming, but at the time I was getting set up, so I didn't take the opportunity to have a word with him and ask what kind of fish you could get out of this river. But I am very interested to know. I couldn't even think of one that I would expect to find here off the top of my head, because to be fair, this water doesn't look like the cleanest. So again, after that last lock opens out into quite a large lake, if that's what you'd call it. Roman lakes aren't that far from here. They're the ruins of an old mill right by them. But I think that name wasn't Arkwright. It's a different industrialist name. Samuel somebody or other. Samuel Old Nose Mill. There's quite spectacular ruins just in the middle of a wood, right near Roman lakes. It's an interesting place to go and have a look round. It's open to the public. It's not like there's anyone there telling you about it. It's literally just ruins of a mill in the wood with quite a lot of interesting plaques around telling you about different areas and information on the mill, which did burn down a number of years ago. Probably an insurance job at the time, as it wasn't doing very well. But it was a huge mill. I think 10 or 11 stories. So we're now at Lock 7. And I can tell that, I'm going downhill the whole time. Getting lower and lower, so it does stand to reason it's one of the steepest lock flights in Britain from what I've seen. I'm going down it rather than up it. Water coming in there through that little tunnel. It's feeding into the waterway, which is good, because otherwise it might get a bit stagnant if it didn't have access to water that streams in, oxygenated water from somewhere else, probably draining off the fields around. So let's walk down to flight number 6 now. Again, the mill pond stillness is in full effect there. Calm as a mill pond, I think the saying is. Well, whilst it isn't a mill pond, it certainly is calm on top. It has rained a lot recently as well, which can only have helped it, looking at the water levels we've seen earlier on in the video. Still running side by side with the woodland path. Looks like mountain bikers favour that, judging by the cut in the ground. Onwards to Lock 6. So each lock seems to have like a pooling area for water to gather, and then stopped by the next gate, followed by the narrow channel, to the next gate. It must be quite scary to be on a canal boat down in that, watching the water fill it up. I don't think I'd like that, although some people might find that exciting. I'm not a big fan of water. I can swim, but that's got claustrophobia attached to it, being stuck in there. Number 6 finished, and each one's got a passing point so you can get to the other side, because there's another woodland path through that gap in the trees there. There's a path that runs alongside the other side of the canal, and I think there's some industrial units down at the bottom of one end. That comes through the lock gate there, and again you've got the pooling area, quite murky. Little bubbles here and there would suggest some fish stock are prevalent underneath the murk and gloom of the top. You're very fortunate to see any pop up, I'm sure. It's a very calming area to come and walk. I can see why it's popular. Anyone who's got a lot of stress going on in their life, hectic lifestyle, will definitely find this calming and allow them to gather their thoughts and recharge their batteries, literally. Got quite a lot of bubbling here. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I actually did see something there just disappear under the water. Probably not caught on camera that though, it was just a very brief moment, and they're aware of our presence now. While the bubbling stops, moved over there a little bit. Or maybe there's a little bit of, it's like someone's put some bread or something in the water. They were coming for a nibble on fish bait, something like that. But a watercolour doesn't lend itself to seeing anything beyond a couple of mils at the surface. Fishing line caught in the tree there. Not a great spot for casting. So we're approaching lock 5 now. What does that say? Canal and River Trust 2021. Built by hand at our Bradley Workshop 2021. So this particular block, wooden block, that forms part of the gate, was built by hand in a workshop in Bradley in 2021. And that wasn't that long ago, and look at the state of it already. So they do require, I would say, yearly maintenance, even if it's just coming down and putting a bit more of that paint or whatever it is on top to protect it from the elements. What have we got here? A little bit of water coming through. Down to the end of gate 5. At least this one here, look, has got a ladder. I think that's what it is. Yep, the ladder here goes all the way down. So you could get out if you've fallen on that one in particular anyway. I don't think many of the others, they had the arm railings at the top but no attached ladder to it. So they must have been taken away or rotted away at some point over the years. This one's actually padlocked off, so you can't use it for some reason. That padlock looks quite new, so I don't know why that's on there like that. There must be a reason for them blocking this one off. 2,150 kg. Wonder what that relates to. Oh look, someone's chucked a bottle down there. And that plaque on there. Let's see if we can zoom in and get an idea what it says. Again, built by hand, Bradley Workshop, 2021. Look at the state of that plaque. Looks like it's been there since 1921. But that's what outdoor weathering in the UK will do to metal, especially around a wetland like this. So let's pass down now to lock number 4. Now we've got a duck there, and the duck's fishing. Let's see if we can see. There he is, the little duck. He knows about food in this pool. Wonder if he's going to be successful. Let's see him back out again. Train passing by on the side here. I think we can have a peep over here and see it in the distance. So this is quite unusual because we've got the train track here that runs at the side, but then underneath these bushes here you can see it's starting to curve. What it actually does is it curves round and it goes straight underneath this pool here under our feet at some point between here and lock 4. You can't see, I don't think, at any point the actual spot, unless you're on the train track, of course. Let's have a wander over here, see if we can see the direction that the train track takes. It's over there. It's actually through this gap here, through that gap there. So it curves under, so it's already passing under us before we even get to this spot over to the other side. And we'll see the rest of that track once we get to the aqueduct. Because the aqueduct was built for the canal boats, but running right past it we've got the viaduct, which was built for trains. Quite spectacular, both of them are. So lock 4. Now this pooling area got a lot less water in, which might explain why it's currently locked off due to lack of depth. It looks fairly deep here. On the other side we've not got that massive drop either, but you can see the water's right up to here. Now we know how deep that is, based on the previous channels that we've had a look at. So I would guess this lock also padlocked off. I would guess that if these sections are padlocked off like this, that it's no longer possible to pass through the whole lock flight at this point. The locks do look fairly new, so it could just be because of the dry weather we had and the fact that the waterways haven't recovered enough to allow passing of boats. Because I'm sure we will see some canal boats on this trip, especially near the on the other side of the aqueduct at least. The other side of Lock 4, very pretty. A lot of greenery on both sides here. I would guess that a lot of this we can already see starting to turn brown. I guess over the next few weeks we'll see a lot less of this greenery. The rhubarb at the side here looks quite afflicted by something or other, starting to turn black, unless that's just a natural part of the life cycle of rhubarb. If that's what it is, it looks like that rhubarb stuff you see. Stems especially look rhubarby. Quite a narrow channel this side, and the water level is really low. We don't normally see the bank on the other side there, that's normally all underwater. Oh look, got some ducks come to say hello. They don't think I've got bread for them because I haven't brought anything for them today. Hi guys. Let's have a closer look at these beautiful ducks. 2 males and a female. And 3 males chasing behind, so we've got 5 males surrounding the female really. She's only, I'm not sure if she's only interested in that one, but that one is definitely interested in her. Long time here to be breeding, guys. Right, on to Lock 3. Let's zoom out a little bit. Out, not in. And you can see these on the other side. We've got the white tie-off points there, but these here look like the original tie-off points. These are also all the way down the side, on the other side of the path. And quite a few of them. So I'm not sure if it was wider at one point. It does seem like a weird spot to have, and you know, you've got the path here. They're at least 10, 12 feet away from the water's edge. So if they were using them as tie-off points, it would have meant rope running right across this path area here. So I'm not sure about the history of that. Whether the path was built as part of the restoration and they narrowed it, which would definitely help to keep the water levels higher. We've got the ducks here now, we're all chasing each other off, trying to compete for the female's attention, I think. Yeah, they're having a little scrap now, not happy. But while he's off there chasing that one, the others are taking their opportunity to say, "How are you doing?" to the female. Anyway, the lives of ducks can wait for another day, another programme. Oh, little lonely one there. What type of duck is he? Or is it a moorhen? Is it a moorhen? Possibly a moorhen. Onwards. doggy here. Hello. Let's say hello. We won't film him though because his owner's with him. Alright. Right, so here we are now at lock. Hey, I've lost count. We're at lock 3 now. Again, this one's got a hell of a drop. Wow. Let's walk along the edge if we can avoid falling in. The ladder intact. The ladder is intact. Looking fairly new. Goes all the way down. Very useful. A passing point. Let's find out what. Oh, I can't see the lock number on this one. It's been scrubbed off. Pretty sure it's 3 though. Guess we'll find out when we get to the next one. There is fishing here, but not at this spot because there are overhead power lines apparently. Well, it looks like there's a pole in the distance there for that power line. Unbelievable that the train track actually passes underneath all this land and water and carries on. I don't know if the train track, well, the train track probably did come after the waterway, so the train track must have been quite the engineering feat to have done that, to have been built in such a manner as to pass underneath this. So no wildlife on this one. Just a calm surface with the early autumn leaves dropping onto the surface and littering it up. So, what lock number is this one? They are quite close together, I've noticed. I'm not sure if they're getting closer together or not. It's quite a narrow pool, this one. Much like I say, the other one was just back there with the numbers scrubbed off. And this one looks quite well maintained. And maybe they've painted over the numbers, because the numbers are normally at this point here, but no number on this one. I would guess this was number 2. And this one says 1425 kg. And again, no, it's actually a little bit fuller, this one. Oh, there's quite a gap at the end there, as you can see that chink of light going through. Quite safe to walk along the edge here, there's not too much moss. Let's have a look, see what kind of ladder we've got on this one. Ah yes, quite new and extensive all the way to the bottom. But that gap in the lock gate doesn't suggest water tightness by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't know why it's like that, but it is also padlocked off like the previous ones. One lock looks fairly new, one lock looks like it's been there a while, and this one definitely needs some TLC, and it is lock number 2. Yep, definitely needs a bit of TLC, this one, look. Seen better days. So anybody who donates to that trust, replacement of these kind of things is what that money's going to go to. And we can see a plaque here. This one was actually 1998, so I guess that's how they know how long it was since it was last maintained. So 98, and this is what it looks like almost 30 years later. The other side looks like it's been done, bar a coating of that black pitch or whatever it's called. I wonder what this metal on top of the wall was for. Old handrails, maybe. So there's no exposed bank or bottom in this part. And old steps there. You'd like to walk down them, would you? Fall down them, be more like. So the water level on this side is pretty decent. You can see how high it does get looking at the markings, the dry patches, the wet patches on the walls over there. So it looks to me like it can get right up to them top stones, judging by the moss on the sides, especially over that point there. Oh, got another little doggy. Look, just by himself. Off he goes, look. No owner knocking about that I can see. Maybe he lives, there's a little cottage on the right down here. Maybe he comes from there. Hope he's not lost. Well, we haven't come across any fishermen, disappointingly, or fisher women. That's a term you don't often hear, although these days it would be fair to say that there are quite a lot of fisher women. Trees gone down there. Found himself spreading the water, which that will create a nice environment actually for in the spring. Little ducklings will be able to hide around that, if it's still attached, that is, and it still gets greenery on it. Looking at it though, it's looking a bit dead, so maybe not. A lovely little cottage here, and a pottery workshop there. Look at that stag. It's great. Look at the man in the garden. That's a cute little garden going down the steps there. Very nice cottage of someone's. We won't intrude on their privacy too much, so we've made it now down to lock 1, if you've been counting along. Painted over again. Unusual. What's it say on the other side there? What date have we got on this one? Let's zoom in. 1997. Well, this one's looking in much better condition than the last one, and that was 1994. So I'm not sure what's happened to that last one. Maybe it got missed one year. Let's see, how deep is it? Yeah, water level's quite low, but not as low as it was further up. Quite a bit of rubbish in there, dog's balls and stuff. Magpies having a go at each other in the tree nearby. We've got a fairly decent ladder on here as well, which does extend all the way down. I wouldn't recommend climbing down. That ladder's there for emergency use only. You're not going to gain anything climbing down there. It'll be slippy. It'll be, like I said, emergency use only. This one's got quite a substantial chain and padlock on it. I wonder if they've had a problem with people cutting them off. That's also not been there long. Certainly wasn't there the last time I passed by a few months back. So this is the back side of Lock 1. It's the filling pool, or just the canal. And we do actually have in the distance some canal boats. From memory, this is where I saw guys fishing the last time that I came down here, which was a while back. I don't get out on many of these walks, unfortunately, these days. What have we got here? So we've got 1, 2, 3 boats. What does this one say? The Noriel Blue. Nice. I wonder what that means, Noriel. Noriel Blue. Looks quite well maintained. A bit disco on top, I'm not sure what that's about. It's had some leaking apparently. But a nice boat. Right, pal. This one's called Typha P from Depdale Wharf. Cool. Yay, England flag. That's lovely, that boat. Very long. And yeah, probably has seen better days, but you can see that it was, and still is, quite an attractive boat. Just needs a lick of paint, that's all. And then this tiny little one here, the back, in use, got his license on display, called the Rocket. So you can tell it's been raining recently, they've all got the special covers on at the back. Right, so now I think we're approaching Marple Aqueduct, and them industrial units I mentioned are just beyond those trees, beyond the cars and vans. And on this side we've got a lovely old house. Not sure its name. What's it called? Aqueduct House. How fitting. Beautiful house. What a great spot to live. That's someone who takes great care of their garden as well. So that's the other path that goes up the other side. It's quite boring though, it's just tarmac road. You can't really see the canal or anything from it, it's just tarmac road through the woods. So we've got bridge number 16. You can see how low that is. And that was so they could put their feet on it apparently and push through. Put their feet against the roof on the sides. Helped to push through because they couldn't get the horses. Well, as you can see downside there, there's no path right next to it for the horses to hold them along by. I'm talking about the days before motor powered, obviously. So that's where the train goes. Up there. That's the bridge. So it goes from going under on one track to over on another track. So one goes under and one goes over the canal. Now that carries on all the way down there to become quite the impressive viaduct which carries the train across the valley. Got drips coming down from the bridge above. Another impressive achievement, look at that bridge. Incredible. I think about the men who built that bridge. Well, not so much the bridge, but the foundations. Not the metal bridge, although that's impressive enough. But the guys who came and mortared those stones in. Looks like there's quite a bit of thought gone into that. Different size blocks used for one. all different reasons. You've got the little smaller bricks there, whether they're just repairs over the years or whether they were part of a special design, I don't know. Then the viaduct starts there, and the aqueduct starts just up ahead here. So on this side we've got the industrial units. Nothing of interest there. This is what we're here for today. The canal, the locks and the aqueduct. What have we got here? Will Pardon Services, Landscape Garden Designs and Tree Care. That's a big entrance there for one of the units. But yeah, as I say, we're here for the canal, the locks and the aqueduct. Morning. Right, just giving some people space there, privacy. What we got on here? It's a notice board from the Canal and River Trust. Welcome to your local canal. I'm not going to read all of them, but the usual stuff. And the reason we've got these ones here about suicide is because a few weeks ago it was a young woman's body was found at the bottom in the valley. She jumped off the edge here. I'm guessing it was ruled a suicide rather than anything sinister, and that's why we've got those on the notice board now, to try and give people support if they are thinking of tossing themselves off the side of this aqueduct. I wouldn't have spelt aqueduct like that, but maybe there was a reason. Maybe when it was first built, that's how they spelt it, and that's why it's called that. It's spelt the same way on there as well. A pioneer in practical canal restoration. Yeah, I agree. That is for. That's something ancient. So I'll let you have a read of that there. 1794. Got the Samaritan's badge added. No, that wasn't there the last time I passed through here, so again this all relates to the poor young woman who decided that her life wasn't worth living and she took the guaranteed exit. God bless her soul. There's where the train passes over from what we showed earlier. So just to recap, we've got the green bridge there, goes behind the trees there, and then across this spectacular viaduct, and the canal comes from there and it goes really narrow here and passes. This whole length here is over a huge drop, which we'll have a look at in a minute. It's got new fence rails on the other side. Now I'm told by somebody a little bit older than me that when they were kids they used to come and play down here, and they would run down the side of here and then jump across to the other side. Now I'm not sure if that's true, because even as a young lad I don't know if I would have had the confidence that I could make that jump. I'd say it's over 6 feet wide, so it's quite an impressive jump to make, especially when you've not got run-up space. You've got to run sideways on and then try and jump over it. But my guy tells me that's what he did. So let's have a peep over this wall, give you a feel of just what we're looking at here. Oh, this is the drop. That's right out there like that. You can walk down there as well. In the distance there, there's a little staircase. You can just see. See them steps there in the middle of the screen? That's how you get down from the other side. Now how you get back up to on this side, I'm not sure. I've never seen. That is the aqueduct in all its glory, and the viaduct in all its spectacular glory. Look at them farmhouses in the background. Great to live there. Have such a fantastic view. Probably at the centre point now, over the aqueduct. There's the river below. It's a massive drop, that. Jeez. Wow. Certain death, of course. Right. I'm going to end the video there.